Handle your high with Tadayoshi. All right, welcome to the show, Breon. I appreciate, man, you taking the time to be on the show. I really, really appreciate it. I know we got a little bit of a late start, but I appreciate it, man. You're out there in California. What's the weather like?
Beautiful.
Yeah, man, I missed that.
Today is, first of all, I appreciate you having me, Tad. I appreciate you, and good to be on. And the weather is beautiful. Man, it's we're spoiled right now because we've been having some rain in and out, and I kind of have to check myself because I know other parts of the country are like blizzarding right now, and we're just like crying over a day or two of rain.
Oh, I remember California has historically needed water, like rain and shit. So I guess you guys have gotten a fair amount of water this year, right?
Yeah, we have, and we've been crying about it too because we're not used to it and we don't like it, but if we need it, all good. And it, it's like when it clears, everything is just so beautiful and green. So that's a great thing too.
Oh man, I grew up in as I was telling you before we started, I was born in California, Southern California. But I've lived all over. I've lived in Northern California and Southern California, but I've also lived in the Pacific Northwest, and it rains there like all year round. But but you're right. Like, it's green, it smells good, it's like fresh and clean. It's hard to beat that sometimes.
Right. So I definitely do appreciate that when I'm in the mood for it, because that means it had to rain the past couple of days,
Did you grow up there in California, or did you grow up somewhere else? I think you were saying you might.
Yeah, I grew up here.
Okay.
Yeah, in specifically Rowland Heights, California.
Okay.
Grew up, and now.
Now, what was that like? What was that like growing up in Rowland Heights?
It was good. I think it really opened my eyes to like so many different social, economical, people and groups of people and families and friends that I accumulated. I had to run the gamut, man. Asian, white friends, Indian friends, Mexican friends, black friends. I had everybody in Rowland Heights, and I think it kind of grew me up in that aspect to kind of just learn, how other cultures and how other people do it at a younger age. I was there from like 1 to 17, and then I just went to college at Iowa State.
Iowa, wow, that's like California, Midwest, must have been like a little bit of a culture shock.
It sure was. Culture shock, weather shock, all together. It was.
What did you study? Sorry to interrupt, but what did you study at Iowa State?
I was a performing arts major, liberal arts major.
Wow, that's awesome. That is really. Dude, were you going to go
I make a joke all the time that business administration and business finance was a little too challenging for me at the time, so I switched my major to performing arts, theater arts, and then I kind of just rode that wave throughout.
So were you wanting to was that acting or things of that nature?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. What it is. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because
in college you have to do everything. So I was in theater. I was in dance productions, doing awesome. Ballet,
ballet. I can see you do that. I can kind of see you do that.
All those type of modern dance, jazz. I was singing in plays as well. Everything.
So now I gotta assume that all that theater and all those dance background, it's got to help you on stage, right?
Oh, I would definitely attribute it to that for sure.
Because you have a really nice presence on stage, and as a judge, and just as somebody who appreciates the industry in general, you have a very nice presence. You display your physique very well and very nicely. What is some of your process? Do you have a process that when you practice posing, or do you incorporate some of those kinds of things that you may have learned in college, or tell me a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, I think it's important to kind of project. I think as bodybuilders, we can kind of get wrapped up in a 16-week prep, and kind of when we're on stage, we can say, oh, okay, this is all about me. I've been pretty much by myself and with myself for all these weeks and focusing on myself. But we got to understand that now when showtime comes, we have to project to the judges. Mm-hmm. We have to project to the audience when we're doing our routines, when we're displaying our physiques, and that's very, very important because now that's that's an aspect of knowing knowing what looks good on your body, angles and different things of that nature to the judges, to who you're performing to. And it's a whole confidence thing, and on projecting out there.
Now, what kinds of, when you do theater, because it's kind of funny that you say this, because my daughter, she's like turning 10 this summer, and she just told me today she's going to be in plays. I'm like, is this for school? She's like, no. She started taking these lessons and acting and different things. She's going to start doing some plays. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like, I wish I could do that. She's like, yeah, we should do it together, Daddy. But so I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. But how did you, was that your intention, was to go and do plays, movies, stuff like that, or whatever, acting, or?
Yeah, that was definitely my intentions. My full intentions was to come back to my homeland here in LA, move, because I was a little further out in Rolling Heights. That's a little further out than the city of Hollywood and Los Angeles. Was to come back, settle in, move to LA area, Hollywood area, and go full speed into the acting business. And that's what I did, starting in 2002. I was full blown into the acting business for I would say a good 8 to 9 years.
And what happened? Tell me what happened.
Well, bodybuilding happened. Yeah, bodybuilding happened. See, what happened was I actually had some pretty good success as an actor, in the years of 2007, 8, 9.
Did you play in some stuff? Anything we might know?
Oh yeah, movies, commercials, TV shows, the whole 9.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the whole. Yeah, and then it kind of, as the acting business is kind of up and down, flippity floppity, so much. Kind of just slowed down after that. In 2009, 2010, it slowed down for me, and I said, oh, you know what? I got to put my energy to something else. I feel like I'm putting all this energy for years now. I was putting energy into acting and trying to, getting these parts and not getting these parts.
Is that stressful?
Yeah, missing out on huge parts too.
So is there a part that you wanted to get?
What's that?
Was there a part that we might know that you wanted to get that maybe if you had gotten it, I might not be talking to you right now?
Yeah, there was a few parts. I was going to be the running back in Friday Night Lights, the TV show that Derek Luke ended up getting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That could have been a completely change of trajectory right there in my career. What else? I was going to do the show. I just missed out on being a regular on the Bernie Mac show. Do you remember that show?
Bernie Mac, I love Bernie Mac, man. Too bad about him. But yeah.
That's him, I know. And God, rest his soul. And too bad for me too. Well, actually not too bad for me too, because now we're having a pretty good bodybuilding career. So
you're doing all right.
It's nice.
I'm a firm believer that everything happens for the right reasons, right, in this life. And you never know, right? You never know why things happen at the time. But later in retrospect, you can go back and go, oh, man, I'm so glad that happened because I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I have to say, since I didn't know much about you prior to a couple years ago, obviously, but when as you've sort of risen in your career in bodybuilding world, I have to say, you have now that I know a little bit about some of this history in Hollywood and doing some of the things in acting, you have a surprisingly really gentle and nice demeanor. It's it's very pleasing. It's very nice. It's very warm. And that's not always the case for a lot of people, especially champions, especially people who, I hate to say that, but it's not that no blasting to anybody else, but I'm just a very warm and that's just naturally the kind of personality that I have. I'm very open and warm and sincere. I just like that. And when I meet other people, it's the first thing I thought last year when I really sort of met you for the first time in person after the Arnold. We took a picture together, and I was like, wow, he's a really nice dude. And I'm like, and I heard you talk on stage. I'm like, wow, you're very cogent, had some very nice things to say. And I was like, okay, that's good. We need this guy like this in the industry who's going to have some nice, good things to say, who's going to resonate with more than just, I'm going to go kill it. I was like, so I wanted to let you know, I wanted to tell you that because I wanted to tell you that you're appreciated, at least by myself for certain, and I'm sure by many, many other people as well. So you're doing a great job. So I don't think, even though I would say, yeah, I would love to see you on TV too, but I'm glad you're doing what you're doing here.
I definitely am having a blast and having a great time here with the sport here. And I definitely appreciate you, Tad, and acknowledging that and telling me that and realizing that. And that's important for me too. It kind of changed my way of the thought process of the industry when I kind of ran into it early on, and ran into some people that weren't as genuine and as warm and compassionate maybe as I would have liked them to be. And then I said, oh, you know what? That's definitely, as I become a champion, I'm definitely not going to have that type of demeanor. I'm going to have a different personality in this whole thing. Not that I was going to put it on, but that I was going to forever always be conscientious of how I'm treating people. Very important to me. And also, it doesn't help that I have just great parents, and my upbringing was wonderful, and they will still check me if I'm not.
Now, are you close with your mom and your dad? I'm assuming you are.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
So who are you closer to, your mom or your dad? Just curious.
Oh, I would probably say mom.
Of course,
if I had to choose and say somebody closer.
I mean, it's a loaded question. I don't. It's not like you love one more than the other, but sometimes people have a tighter relationship. That's all. I could have guessed that. I could have guessed that just because the kind of personality that you have a very, like I said, a very warm and a genuine personality. And everyone that I've met, because I'm very tight with my mom too. Like, I'm close. I talk to her about everything. I love my mom, and I feel very, very fortunate to have her as a mother. And but she's also one of those moms that was standoff. Like, she'd back off. When I got into college, she's like, Tad, I'm your mother, but I can't tell you what to do anymore. But if you want my advice, you're gonna have to come to me and ask me. I'm not gonna interject it because I don't feel like it's my place. And I'm like, okay. So what is it like with your mom? Like, how does she check you? Like, because my mom only did that once.
And it's funny you say that because as I was growing up, my mom was the strict one. She was a lot stricter than my dad. I would go to
your dad's like this party.
I would ask my mom, to go places, parties or whatever. I knew she would say no, and sure enough she did. And then I would kind of go back behind her and ask my dad, can you talk to mom? He said no. Can you kind of talk to her? It's going to be this way. And dad would kind of, make her feel good about wherever I was going or whatever. And then I'd end up going. So it's funny that I say that I'm closer to my mom, and that maybe that's why, because it was a little bit because of the strictness and because of the discipline. And now as an adult, I kind of just really appreciate it that much, as I know I could have been a knucklehead and had all kind of problems growing up if I didn't have the discipline and the strict motherhood that she brought to the table. But I also remember, her telling me when I went away to college, she was like, well, I'll tell you what. I raised you right, and I know I did, but if you get into any kind of trouble, and if it's your fault, I can just let the jailhouse take care of you, and I'm not going to be there to bail you out because you know better. So
I remember my
gotta love her for that.
Hey man, that's good, man. That's good truth, man. Because I think as parent, because I'm a parent, I have a daughter, and it's raising kids in today's world in any era is not an easy thing. And you have to, at some point, have some faith that, hey, man, I did my job right. I did it good. I did as good as I knew how. And I'm letting them go in the world. Hopefully, things are going to go good. I know my mom had similar kinds of conversations with me, although I remember having one conversation that reminds me of this. I was in high school. It was kind of a weird conversation because I remember I'm studying in my room. I'm 15 years old. I just started bodybuilding, right? And I'm like, I was thinking everything was all about bodybuilding, okay? And my mom comes in and she puts a thing of condoms on my desk, and she's like, Tad, I can't stop you from doing the things I know you probably want to do. You're getting to this age. And she's like, I just don't want you to do anything stupid. You know how I feel about this kind of stuff. I don't think you should be doing this until you're really, really ready. But just in case you don't have no kids, so she's like, I don't want you to do anything dumb. And I'm like, oh, Mom, like, I don't need to talk about this.
She said, just in case you don't have any already, I want you to have stuff.
Right. So, but that's good, man. That's the kind of honesty I think I always have with my mom. And so I appreciate that. And,
Absolutely.
So now, does she live?
Me not having any kids right now, I know that I'm gonna. I just know from all this experience that I'm having, I'm going to be the type of parent that I know I want to be, at least, but the scary thing about it, man, is just that kids have to learn on their own.
Yeah.
Some point in time, that's so scary, and I know it is, and I know you know firsthand, and you can understand.
One of the biggest things one of the biggest things I think that most parents and I know that we all struggle with as a parent, because we want to see our children do well. We don't want them to be harmed. We don't want them to be injured or hurt in any way, emotionally or anything else. And we want life to be good to them. And so we try to protect them in some ways. But the more you protect, the more you disable. Because when you just can't, it's like building a fence around your house, right? Like, it'll work. But it doesn't really. But if you go outside the fence, then you're exposed, and you better be able to protect yourself, right? You better be wise enough, smart enough to be able to make the right choices. And the only way to do that is through experience. You got to let the kids go out there and fall on their face and fall on their bike and like get up and get. That's the only way to learn how to ride, right? Like, you got to get out there and start doing it. You just want to keep them away from like making big mistakes.
Yeah, those type of mistakes, like when they really get going. As far as your girl is 10, right?
Right.
So I'm talking about those teenage years to where there's all kind of peer pressure, and it's so important to be cool and the things that you're involved with.
Isn't it funny now as an adult, especially now that we're far removed so many years from being in high school and trying to be cool, trying to fit in, trying to find out your place? It's like how silly it seems today.
Yeah. I look back, man, on the things that I did, and I definitely laugh at myself and think, wow, what? You thought that was cool, and that was so important to you at the time? So funny.
I know. What now? Did you so now that do you ever plan on, like, maybe do you ever entertain like going back and doing some more acting stuff or doing more of that kind of stuff? Because it seems like you should. It seems to me that the bodybuilding career may actually help infuse it, because so many more people know about you and that kind of thing. Maybe, I don't know, but you tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dipping and dabbing in it now as we speak. I have a movie coming out actually this summer.
Oh, that's
really that I shot last year, in and out of shows.
Oh, nice. Okay, can we? What's the movie? Can you tell?
It's called Trade. I could put it out there right now because
Trade.
We're already advertising it. Yeah, it's called Trade.
What is it about?
TRAD. Oh, I don't know if I should tell you all that, Tad. I just tell you that
just to hide this.
Yeah, I'll just tell you that it's about the transgender world.
Oh, wow.
And,
okay.
Higher class, lower class, middle class, transgender world, and all of that.
Wow. So is it a?
Yeah.
Are you one of the main characters, or what can we expect to see in there of you?
I am. I play one of the pimps.
Now, why do they got to make you into a pimp?
But you know what? I like to think that it's just great acting, because I think that I'm furthest thing away from even looking like and acting like a pimp in real life.
So
I'll just attribute it to that.
Who was I watching? I think it was Dave Chappelle, and he was talking about this book that was about this pimp, this notorious pimp. You know what I'm talking about? I forgot the name of the book. It was supposed to be like a famous book. And it's like, has all these rules.
I probably Slim.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, like there's actual rules in this shit. I was like,
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a whole breakdown,
How to bust a girl out, I'll do all this stuff. It's like how you rule them and how you do all this stuff. I was like, wow, man.
It's a whole pimpology 101.
There you go, pimpology. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I hope that goes really well. I'll be on the lookout for it. It'll be at the movie theater, and we'll be able to see it there and that kind of stuff.
I don't think it's going to be in like, theaters worldwide and like all across the board. It'll be in selective theaters. It's a lower budget film, and it's more of an independent film. So it'll be in selective theaters, local, and maybe even throughout the I'm not sure if it's all countrywide, but I'll find out more about it when
oh man, I'll be interested.
Closer to May and June here. I think maybe even starting next month or late this month. We're already coming up in April.
I know, it's
early April. Yeah.
It's hard to believe, man. The year's just flying by. It just seems like we're at New Year's.
Yeah, we're already almost a quarter of the way out of the first of the year.
I know.
Out of the beginning of.
Next thing you know, you'll be dieting for the Olympia, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's not gonna be many more months, man.
No.
What? So now, tell me about So how did you transition into bodybuilding? Like, how did that happen?
Well, I've always been athletic. I've been in sports since 6 years old. Always been athletic in all the sports growing up. And I've always, starting in maybe 11, 12 years old, I started just really admiring and being fascinated with the physiques on the magazines.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's when I started kind of getting fascinated about that. And it's right when I actually started lifting weights too. I started lifting at 12 years old.
Wow.
Because the next year I was going to be in high school. I was going to play running back in high school. And I was like, these linemen, they're big boys. And I got to put some muscle on, right, to be able to absorb this impact.
And you're not super tall. So you're like 5'6"?
6 or 7 on a great day, yeah.
I know that feeling, man. I know that feeling, okay?
Yeah, so, and then, just throughout the years, acting was primary, from 2000 and like I said, 2 to almost maybe 10 or 11. And then my look started changing as I started getting more and more serious into lifting weights, and my body started, putting on a lot more muscle. My face stayed the same, but my body started putting on a little bit more muscle. And then casting directors were like, Breon, we don't know about your look right now because your body looks a certain way, but your face looks another way.
Well, they were saying you were too big?
Too big.
Okay,
too big.
Because you probably...
They were like, your face still looks, the same. You haven't aged too much, so we don't need to change your whole roles as far as your face is concerned. But then when we pan down and your body looks a certain way, you can't play a high school kid right now, or you can't play, You're like, I
don't want to play a high school kid.
Yeah, you can't play somebody's son anyway when you look more muscular than the dad.
Tell him, hey man, So it changed your roles then? It sounds like it changed the opportunities.
Yeah, it changed my roles. And then as it changed my roles, I just was like, oh man, the roles started diminishing too. As you started getting typecasted, and there wasn't as many roles for, the muscular guy that were available out there. So I just got deeper and deeper and deeper into lifting. I went to my first, a show in 2011. It was a natural show here locally in LA. I said, hey, I could do this. I looked like I can probably do that and do well at it. Next thing you know, I was on stage about 6 or 7 weeks later. I won my novice category, but I lost the overall. And then, the rest is history. I've been going ever since then, ever since 2012.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. and still dabbing into acting, in between still, but for maybe a few years there, I wasn't doing too much because I had to get super duper serious, especially when I turned pro. I had to get super duper serious with bodybuilding, like in 2013. And
how has your success in bodybuilding changed the way you approach the acting? I mean, did your agent or somebody say, well, this is a good thing, or did they say, this is going to be challenging? Because now you can't really get smaller, at least for the short term.
Right. Now I'm all the way in it. Now the muscle is mature and it's sticking there.
Yeah, exactly. And I know from when you're on camera, everybody always looks about 10 pounds bigger. So you look even bigger. So you're even bigger on camera. And so you make normal people kind of look small. And that could be in the way, I imagine. So how is that? Is that? I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a way, because I mean, shit, The Rock can get movies, but he's The Rock, of course. But
I just, you just get in where you fit in. There's still roles and there's still parts out there for everybody, and there's still parts for the muscular guy, for me. There's definitely stuff out there still that I can get involved with and do, and that I have been. So I will never let my SAG card go.
Good.
Always have it. I always want to dib and dab into it. Who knows, after the bodybuilding career is over, then I'll really dib and dab into it even more so. And I also, my goal, Tad, is to really like bring bodybuilding and to really help the sport go mainstream.
Yes.
I think that's my calling. So maybe in the likes of Arnold, I can help bring it mainstream, through that industry too. And if not that industry, just from my voice and my platform and how I can help it.
I think you are a good candidate for that, because you do have a very nice, like I said, a good demeanor. You have a good ethos with the audience, and so I'm curious, like, have you found that some of your fans in bodybuilding remember you from some of the work you've done? I'm just curious if anybody's ever mentioned anything. Say, hey man, I think I saw you on.
Yeah, they have, and also I posted a few things when I was in. When I did this Mountain Dew commercial in 2008, and I posted some things, and they were like, "Oh man, I remember you. That was you." Cool. And then some people that they left a message on the comments on an Instagram post that they saw me in the Fast and Furious, the one after Tokyo Drift, the third one. I was in the fourth one.
You were in the fourth one? Oh shit! Yeah. Damn, that's cool. So. Yeah, there's some that recognize what I've done out there in that world. Well, what's the moving forward in this next couple of years? What's the most exciting things that are coming to you right now that you are most excited about? Not necessarily acting or bodybuilding, but just anything in general that's exciting for you.
I think, it's definitely directly related to the bodybuilding, because that's just number one in my world right now. And I just think it's just having an impact and being of inspiration and motivation, like worldwide. I've just seen how I've been able to touch and impact people on that
cool?
level, and it's amazing.
It is.
It's amazing.
I tell people, I was just having this conversation with somebody else, and I said, look, man, some of the athletes today who are really on the high end of the scale in terms of they're the champions, the people like yourself, they have such a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to have so much joy in their life by uplifting others. It's like, man, like you have no idea, but instead and I don't mean to point any fingers because I'm not pointing at any particular person, but sometimes what happens is it gets all turned inwards. You're not doing this, of course, but it does happen, and I don't blame them for it, but it can happen where it's all about me, and then all of a sudden you lose. And I'm sure it feels great to be all about yourself, and that's great too, but you miss out on this larger pie that's out there for because someday. The truth is this, that there will come a day when you aren't relevant on the stage, right? Like we all get this way. Like no one lasts forever on stage, right? We all have to have a relevancy beyond that. And I'm of the mindset that says, man, you can maintain relevancy by being loved. And people love you not just because of your physique, but because of who you are. people don't love Arnold because of all the Mr. Olympias. They love him because of the movies and the message and what this persona that he's built over the last 40 years, you know, in the public eye. And when you have this opportunity, it's like, man, like, take advantage. It's like, it's a great one. So, I mean, it sounds like you really have your eye on taking advantage of that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, I absolutely do. You know, like I said, I understand about the, you know, you really have to take advantage of your platform, and it's not going to be forever. So when you do have it, man, try to make try to be as impactful to out there to as many as you can, positively as you can, because that's really, you know, we know that really is just makes us feel something. That just makes us feel so wonderful. That just makes us feel so great. All the joy. How can you be really? You still, you know, with all the titles and all that, and then but if you're not extending yourself, if you're not, you know, making yourself be available to them, and you aren't well loved, and you aren't appreciated, then I don't think you can truly experience the happiness, and you really. You're not even truly taking advantage and really biting down on the worth of being a champion, or the worth of being something that, you know, if you keep it in, it's all about extension, and it's all about outreach.
It's like you multiply the joy, you multiply all the wonderful benefits of this experience by sharing. Right? Like, I was just thinking about this today. I'm coming home from the gym, and I see this guy who I always see standing on the, he stands right in, I live in Wilmette, and it's the North Shore of Chicago. It's kind of an affluent area. So it's the same guy that I see standing, always begging for money. He's this black guy, he's heavy set, and he's always got the same clothes on. And I was like, man, I didn't have time to go over. I was going to go over to him and talk to him. I just wanted to talk to him because nobody talks to him. You just, and I thought, man, so to me, and I kept thinking to myself, I got some money in my wallet. I was going to give him 20 or whatever, $40, whatever I had in my wallet. And but I just didn't have time. I'll probably do it tomorrow. But I thought, man, I remember a day when I wouldn't have done that. And the reason why I even thought of that today was because I thought to myself, that money's doing no good in my wallet.
Yeah.
It's like no good. It's doing no good. It's going to sit there for like, I don't know how long. I don't spend money. I really don't spend that much money. But it's doing no good there. And so somebody told me, one of my Islamic friends who I train with, he's one of my clients. He was talking about merits, and they have this thing with merits in the Islamic faith and the Muslim faith, and you do merits. It's good. It's like when somebody is, and I may be misquoting this or something, but what came across to me was when somebody's putting you down or somebody's doing something bad against you, so to speak, you do good to them because it's like. It's like you're turning it all around. Like nothing bad is really happening. It's like, I like that idea. That no matter what anybody else does, no matter what, it's like, man, I could take what we normally define as a loss. If I give this homeless guy $20 or $40 or whatever it is, in my old way of thinking, it would have been like, oh, I don't have the $40 or whatever it is. And it's like, but instead, I'm actually getting, like, I'm trying to redefine my life from this standpoint. It's like, it's not about me losing something. I'm actually gaining something. It's kind of the same. I hear the same sentiment in what you're talking about. Like, man, you have this great platform, you have this wonderful career, and you have an opportunity to give, but what you're giving, but you're really, really receiving.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
In the long run.
That's just the difference in someone that's great, you know, and someone that's, you know, you're talking about the legacy and all that. That's just the difference in, like, you know, monumental and kind of on a smaller scale is just the outreach and the thought process, like you said, just the way of thinking about it. You know, I like to think that I'm here to do for the sport and do for the league.
I like that. As opposed
to take from it, and what can it do for me? You know,
I mean, it's going to give to you. Life gives to us, but I think it's in direct proportion to what we give. It's just my thought. Speaking of legacy, like when you think of legacy, and I mean, how old are you now? Like, you're what, 30-ish? I don't know.
I will be 38.
Damn.
Late this.
Damn. Okay. Well, good. Well, I totally miscalculated. You look young, so that's good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What do you, when you think of legacy, like what do you think about? Because you have several, it's not just bodybuilding for you. I see you as a multifaceted kind of an individual. So you're acting and some other things. What's legacy for you mean?
Well, that's it means to me just kind of just transcending far beyond just the physique. What did Breon stand for? How was he to the people? How was was he encouraging? Was he approachable?
So you think about this.
Did he kind of I really want to kind of, like I said, change the game as far as growth in our sport, monetarily, all across the board, and really help making it, educating people about our sport and the people in it. We really have fascinating and really wonderful people in this game.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's so small to the masses and to the mainstream that people don't even know what type of people are able to do this, are able to do probably less than 1% of what the world does, which is diet on a consistent basis on this level,
Yep.
And it takes a certain type of person to do that.
You're absolutely right. It also, I think, takes a certain kind of person, not just to do this lifestyle, but to be the kind of champion that you're talking about, that gives and that offers. Not everybody's cut out for it. Not everybody's cut out to be, and it's not because they couldn't. It's because they choose not to. They're choosing it, and it's okay to choose what you want to choose in this life. That's why we're here. But we're not not every champion is going to be the same, as you know. And so it's really refreshing to know and to hear that you are thinking about this, because I'm surprised at how many people, well, maybe it's just because I'm a very thought-provoking person. I really like to think. I got a degree in philosophy. I went to seminary. I kind of these are the things that I think intensely about the meaning of my life and the meaning of my actions and the meaning of my thoughts. And so part of that is, when I think of legacy, it's to me, I think of it for my own life. I think of it in terms of my children, of course, my daughter, the people that I touch, the people in my friendships, every single person that I get to interact with, that my energy gets to interface with. I want to add value as best that I can. And sometimes it's little, sometimes it's a lot. Doesn't matter. The amount doesn't matter. What matters is I want to be adding value. And so in order to do that, my legacy is that I must approach it every day. I must approach myself, and I must try to, this is the way I put it recently, present my best self at every turn. And the only way I can do that is by somehow eliminating criticism, eliminating negative emotion, eliminating as much negativity as I possibly can from my own perspective. Not from anybody else. I can't do for anybody else. How do you approach? Are these some? Because you have an energy about you that's very similar. That I find, and I'm always picking up energy from people. When I talk to people, you have good, warm energy, you have nice, comfortable, easygoing, good, warm energy. So I know that these sentiments probably resonate with you. Probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I definitely understand where you're coming from, because I feel the same way. I'm just it's so great. I just love to, just to have somebody tell me how much, and you don't have it every day. I don't get it every day, but when I do get it, just how much I have helped them, or how much they appreciate me, or what I've done, or just take the time out to talk or whatever. And I'm like, wow, that really makes me feel good. And I love them feeling good and feeling great, So I'm like, man, let's keep that train rolling, and to just, like you said, really focus on treating everybody with utmost respect and adding value to their life when they have interaction with you.
Yeah. I think that's how people. I think that gives us a certain degree of permanence, a certain degree of legacy, a certain degree of extension in life, like you said. And I'm curious, this just reminds me, because you have this interesting position where you get lots of people who have seen you in different formats, like whether it be movies or whether it be the stuff in bodybuilding. What's the most interesting or the funniest or most unusual sort of fan that you read that you like? Because the last 2 years have had to been a nice wild ride a little bit in the bodybuilding world. What's the most interesting? I always like fan stories. So what's the most interesting, funny fan story that you have?
There's been a few great ones, man. But I would probably even just say this at the Arnold this past month. A man and his girlfriend, they brought power cakes to me because they know I love pancakes. So they gave me power cakes up there on the booth at the booth, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's amazing." You know, I make jokes about it on my social media all the time that I'm pancake eating and I love pancakes and this and that, and to actually receive pancakes in person, you know, I thought it was really, really cool. So I have all kind of, you know, see, and that's just another thing, because I love how people are able to think that feel comfortable enough to do that, because, you know, I'm just on my Instagram story just talking to them, man, as they're my family, and I'm talking to them as you know, they're a closest friend to me as anybody is. So, you know, that's just how the love is shared.
Pancakes. Well, I guess I know what to get you at the Olympia.
Yeah, pancakes wouldn't be bad. And speaking of that also, and that's what I was doing, eating pancakes at the buffet after last year's Olympia anyway.
I think the funniest fan story I ever had, just me personally, I don't have nearly the kind of fans that other people have, of course, but years ago when I was competing, I had somebody, one of my fans email me and say, "Hey, you know," he said, "would it be possible if I could buy your posing trunks from you?" I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, nah, bro.
Yeah, that's a little bit on the freakier side,
like,
man.
I don't, I'm sorry. I'm like, look, man, I appreciate the love, but I'm going to keep those to myself.
Right. Keep those. I'm going to be the only one wearing those, man.
I don't know what the hell you want to do with them, but I don't think it was anything I wanted.
That's what it is. Like, why?
Like, I don't want to be a part. Like, in my head, I don't want to be a part of that. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Do what you got to do. But it was just kind of funny. But I got, it's kind of funny. I had Brandon Curry on a couple of weeks ago before the Arnold, and I asked him, and he said he had a funny fan story. He said that one time he was at the Olympia a couple years ago. Some guy says, "Hey man, can I get a picture of your bicep? You hit a bicep shot." He's like, "Sure." He's like, and he said, "I raised my arm up," and he raised his camera up, take a picture, and he fainted. The dude fainted in the middle of the Olympia Expo. He just dropped. I was like, he just dropped. He said, "Yeah, man, everybody gathered around and tried to pick him up."
Wow.
I was like, man, I guess you were just too exciting for him.
Yeah. He just couldn't believe his eyes.
He couldn't believe it. I was like, that's the funny. That's to me, that's pretty. That's when you know you got star power.
Absolutely. If they're fainting like that, just at the drop of a hat, wow.
That must have been like.
And when I'm going to tell him about that, and I'm going to share some stories with him, some more stories with him. You know, pretty much when we're roommates again in Kuwait, I'm sure we'll be.
Oh, okay, cool.
Getting ready for this Olympia prep. You know, we were roommates last year in Kuwait.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna go to Kuwait and train at Bader's, the oxygen gym and stuff, and.
Yeah, I'll probably do that again this year.
Awesome. Yeah, I like Bader. He's a great guy, and Brandon is awesome. I've known him since he was an amateur. He's a cool dude. I love him to death. He's awesome, and. I'm so glad that he's opened up more these days, because before he was always so like private and so like, you know, and I'm like, man, dude, like now he's smiles more, he's good. I'm like, all right, he's opened up a bit. I think he's gotten more comfortable with all this stuff, you know. And bodybuilding for him was not. I found this fascinating. He fell into it on accident. It's like most of us like go, oh man, I want to do that. Like that's what happened to me, man. I'm going to do that because I felt the need to change myself to become something, right? He sort of fell into it. Did you look at bodybuilding and go, man, I want to do that? Like, cause I'm like you, we're about the same height. I'm 5'7". When I was in high school, I was 97 pounds. And I was like, I need to be big, man. I wanted to play football. I played football and I was like, man, I'm too small. Screw this. And I'm like, I want to do this bodybuilding thing. I remember the captain of the football team took me aside and he's like, and I was getting crushed, man, in these practices, man. I was so tiny and I was a freshman. And he goes, and he was a cool dude. He was a captain of the team. He was like muscular, and he was like, Joe Cool. Everybody liked him. And he came up to me in the locker room, and he said, man, don't be disappointed. And and this is the power of somebody who you admire, right? He says, hey man, he's like, hey bro, don't sweat it, man. Just go to the gym. That's all he told me. That one comment, oh man, I was inspired, man. So I soon after that, I dedicated my whole extra time to bodybuilding, and that's when I turned bodybuilding. But so how did you get inspired by somebody or by some event or by some? Because for me, it was like I looked in the mirror, man. I was so small.
Well, it was more so. I kind of just, I know I didn't always want to do it, but I was fascinated by the physiques, and I kind of just ran into it smoothly after the acting career wasn't going to be number one anymore, because then I just said, oh, okay, what can we do now that I really can like sink my teeth in and be passionate about? You have a really nice physique. So did somebody tell you, hey man, like you should do this? Like, because you got good structure. Well, see, I was a trainer at 24 Hour Fitness for in 2010 and 11, and every single day, almost every day, people were saying, "Hey man, do you compete? Hey man, do you compete? Do you compete? Do you compete? Do you compete?" I was getting it every day for almost 2 years.
Damn, I got to compete so I can say yes.
And I was like, man, well, like if I look the part like this to where everybody's coming up. Let me go see what this whole thing is about, That's when I went to that natural show in 2011, and then I was like, oh wow, I think I could be pretty good at that. You size everybody up, and then there it went. But I think it was maybe just a smoother transition because I was pretty good at sports. I was strong as a lighter guy. Like we had in high school, we had even the records of who would deadlift so much, who would bench so much, who would clean so much, who would do this, and I was up there as with the big guys as far as strength is concerned.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was always pretty muscular, and I was always pretty strong. So I said, well, I guess this strength, can translate into good muscle. Being a bodybuilder. So I said, well, let's see what this is about, and let's go at it, And then that's when it clicked. That's when it clicked after I did the first show in 2012. I said, okay, you know what? I am enjoying this. This is fun. The process of doing this and seeing my body change, was a great time. I want to do this. I want to turn pro. I want to be Mr. Olympia one day.
And then what did it feel like to actually do all that? In short order.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing, because it was pretty quickly there. Able to be Mr. Olympia in 5 years after I was able to turn pro. Well, it was 4 years. I was able to get 2017. Yeah, I turned pro in 2013.
Wow.
So just 4 years after was just incredible. To turn pro quickly was incredible. And, naturally, if you're good at something, you're going to have a great time, right? You're going to have more fun with it. So,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe some people I find just have a very different perspective on what they do. Some people naturally move towards like criticism. They'll have a great experience, like they'll accomplish something, but then they want to criticize some piece of it because it wasn't quite perfect. I get it, but you don't strike me like that at all. But it would be atypical.
I guess what I mean by that is maybe I should have taken it a step further. As I guess when you reach some type of notoriety with it or some kind of fame with it,
I'm sure.
Then things can change because they don't like how people dissect them all day long, and they'd rather be to themselves with their passion and what they love.
Now, speaking of which, reminds me, this always ends up being someone on the topic list, but when you prep for a show, like especially like the Olympia, like especially like this year, or even doesn't matter if it's this year or not, but do you kind of fade back from social media? You don't strike me as a person who is insecure or who takes criticism hard, but some people do. Some people really, really, they just like they get off social media for like 2 months and they prep, and because if they're in the limelight, then you got all your haters. You suck, or you're gonna get kicked in your ass. Someone's gonna beat you. Blah blah blah. Okay. You know, like okay, yay, I love you too. You know, it's like what? How do you approach it?
Yeah, and I get all that. You know, I get all that when I see all the comments that whoever they like C-Bum or whoever they like out there. You know, I'll just do a regular post or something, and they'll say, "Oh, you're not going to win it this year," or this is not your year," or "You need to do this," or they'll criticize. So it's all good. You know, I just know that that's a their problem, not a my problem.
That's right. That's right.
You know, but no, I don't definitely shy away from social media. I might even get even more into it.
Oh, good.
Because I'm just thinking about the legacy again. I'm thinking about the legacy, and I'm thinking about the change kind of in the trajectory of now the bodybuilding game and the bodybuilding world. I know these guys, and social media and all that wasn't present back in the 90s and in the early 2000s as it is now. But we have we do have a stereotype of not being the friendliest when we're prepping and when we're dieting, and I like to say that, hey, it doesn't have to be that way, guys. We're still drinking 1 to 2 gallons of water. We're still eating 5, 6, 7 meals a day. Why do we have to be miserable, and why do we have to make the world think that we're miserable because we're doing something?
Well, precisely. I was never all that miserable when I prepped. I asked my ex-wives, maybe they'll tell you something different, but I never felt like I was. But it can be a rough process, yes. But today, I tell a lot of my athletes, I say, look, man, you today, in this day and age, when you're prepping, it doesn't matter what level you're prepping at, man, it's an advantage to have social media. It is such an advantage, especially for somebody like yourself who's competing at the Olympia, at the Arnold, these kinds of big shows, where when all the heat is on, that's when you want to be present. That's how you form a legacy. That's how you form the connections. And you're not going to form those connections with everybody. Some people are just not going to like you. That's okay. It's okay. As a matter of fact, I think that you gain more respect by confronting your haters in a loving, positive way and saying, "Hey, man, you're entitled to your opinion. Hey, man, good luck to whoever you like, but I'm gonna do my best to keep what I got, to do what I got to do." And I think that to me shows a lot of maturity. That to me shows that, and you utilize the platform, the social media platform, to be able to advance your cause. That's the whole point, And so to me, I think it's just they short circuit themselves, or they do themselves a disservice by fading back off of social media for that. Like right before the Olympia, that's the time when you want to be vocal to a certain degree. I'm not saying you need to live on it, but to be vocal, because that's when people want to hear from you. That's when your fans want to hear. That's when So, do you have a strategy for that? Do you make it a point to interact directly with your fans and stuff like that? That's the biggest change, by the way, in today's athletics. You can interact directly with the athletes, and that's never been done in history, man. Never. So that's awesome.
That's why I appreciate it, and I feel lucky to have it at our fingertips in this day and age. And have it as prevalent as it is,
It seems like it rules the world sometimes.
It does. It sure does. It seems like, everybody's doing it. I mean, it seems like everybody's doing it. And you said, rules the world, and it just controls everything. That's what it seems like.
Sometimes I ask, is it good? Is that good? Is it good? I don't know. I mean, there's definitely good in it. There's definitely some mixtures of not so good. I mean, I even see shows and this, you may have a perspective on this, like TMZ. I don't watch it, but when I'm at the gym, it seems to always be on. I don't know, on the screen, and I see it and all they're really talking about is who they saw in Hollywood, or who, what star is dating who, or who's got the baby bump, or whatever the fuck they're talking about, and all not relevant information to my life, but still kind of funny sometimes, they almost, I would say easily a third of their conversations is based on social media. It's we saw they posted this, they said this, they retweeted this. I'm really? You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that before. Do they?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
does your? I'm curious in how that's viewed, like in Hollywood, because I'm not directly. I don't have direct access to any of that. But do they encourage you to be vocal, like your agents and stuff like that? Do they? I mean, I'm just curious. So what kind of? What's
Oh
the
yes,
attitude?
because like it's publicity. It's
Like any publicity
publicity.
is good publicity, right?
Oh yeah, any publicity is good publicity, especially in Hollywood. So they're like, they will actually they will cast. They will see you as a certain personality these days on your social media, and they will cast you for parts now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they will go out and find you if you don't even have an agent or you don't even
Nice.
get an audition. But they will call you into an audition and go out and find you because they see a certain personality and a certain following and a certain engagement that you have.
Oh, wow.
So there's opportunities, definitely. In that respect, and it definitely you can take advantage of now that are great.
This was
Opportunities that we have now.
This was kind of what I was asking before about, like, has perhaps maybe now, I don't know, maybe it already has impacted your ability maybe in the future to get other roles, right? Maybe?
Yeah.
Because,
Oh yeah.
I mean, literally millions of people know who you are now all over the world. All because of the Olympia.
I definitely think so. And I think it will only get better, and it will only just increase. You just have to just certain people just have a personality just for because again they just want it to be for entertainment,
Right.
And some is genuine. So mine is genuine. So when it comes from me being genuine and just who I am, absolutely, I'm not going to block those blessings.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
Those.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
And
Don't block the blessings.
No way.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What? When do you start your prep for the Olympia? When do you usually, like, 14 weeks, 15 weeks, 12 weeks?
Yeah. What is that? Would be like 14, late June.
Yeah.
Will be about 14. If the Olympia is like this 19th, 20th weekend. Yeah, it'll be about 14. Late June we'll start, like the week right before the 4th of July. I always get a 4th of July pass for kind of barbecue or having a cocktail or two, and then after that, then it's full go.
That's awesome. These
Yeah.
So this year, what have you been working on? What has been your main focus in terms of your bodybuilding, like in improving your physique, or what do you want to bring to the stage that's maybe different than you did last year, if anything?
Yeah, this year I've really been I've really dissected my physique, and I really want to just make it as I'm actually putting on a little bit more lean muscle. Like, just want to make it just that much more symmetrically balanced, proportioned. Make it flow just that much better. So I'm really dissecting body parts on what's really bigger than what body part is bigger than the next. Is it symmetrical? Right bicep, left leg, right leg, calf to calf, hamstring to hamstring. So it's just it just doesn't really get any easier on the top. It's actually harder.
Yeah.
And it gets challenging. So I actually feel like I'm training just as hard or harder right now, even this far out. Right now, the training is all together intense. Right now, it's already up there. It's already like Olympia style training right now.
Oh wow! You're not doing You're not going to do anything before the Olympia. It's just the Olympia, right?
Just the Olympia, yes.
Now, most of the champions that I know who are really good, like Flex Wheeler, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like all these people, when you start to analyze how they approach their body, it's almost always the same. They approach it like a sculptor or like an artist. They oftentimes use that sort of metaphor. But what I notice is that they create a vision, and I tell my athletes to do this. They create a very precise mental image in their head of what they want to see in their body. Not just the proximity, but a very specific image. It's like, if I want to go to a fun place and that fun place is Vegas, I got to be very specific where I'm going to go. I got a very specific route. I'm going to be very specific. That's how I know I'm going to get there. Do you have something like that? Do you have a specific image in your head? Because I find that's one of the keys. like, man, those are the people that we remember because they didn't do it by chance. It just didn't happen by chance. It's like it was very intentional. They are very specific, and that's why they created something unique. Tell me, is that what you?
I definitely have that image in my head, that specific, and it's funny. The image that I have in my head is when I think of a person, I think of Flex Wheeler.
Of course.
When I think of a bodybuilder, I think about Sultan, right? And I even think of, a smaller version, obviously, because I'll be at about 180 to 185 pounds of a look like that, that's even more sharp and even more conditioned, and that's even more razor sharp with it. And so that's kind of the image that I have as far as the sculpted symmetry and balance. Everything was developed, right? He wasn't missing. He wasn't lacking in any body parts.
No. He got a little big at the end of his career, I think.
At the end of, we're talking about 93, 94 Flex.
There you go. Yeah. Arnold Classic Flex. Arnold Classic Flex. Yeah.
That Flex. Yeah.
And he wasn't that. He wasn't as heavy as people thought. Like at that time, he wasn't, because he got pretty big. I remember, and I think when he won the Arnold Classic, I think he was 227 pounds.
Yeah,
I don't think he was. That's it. But he looked bigger. And he just looked beautiful. I was like, wow, man, this is like perfect. That's when
I think my physique is the same way, because I think I come in at 180 pounds, and I'm able to kind of hold my own muscularity wise to guys up there that are 225, 230.
What's your limit? What your height? Your limit is what?
It's actually 180.
So how do you keep that? It's like, I would think it'd be easy to bubble that over, and it would not be hard at all to just like tip that over for you.
Yeah. Well, I just do what it takes to get down to that weight. Do what it takes. It's a little bit more cardio, obviously. It's dieting harder. It's just do what it takes. But I feel like I'm definitely looking forward to the challenge this time of putting on a little bit more muscle and coming down to the same exact weight. So that means I have to get drier. That means I have to be even more sharp.
What's your weight in the offseason? Like, what are you now?
Oh, I'm around 208 now at the end of the day.
So is that what you like to be in the offseason? You like to be somewhere in that 210, 205 to 210 range? Or you just play?
That's about good. Yeah, that's about good with me, as far as even able to keep my shape and some conditioning and some strength. So that's about good with me.
Okay. Yeah. I was just curious because a lot of people are different. Like, it's easier when you keep yourself close because, you don't look like you get really like fat or anything like that. You don't get really super out of shape or anything like that. It doesn't look like to me. Is it always been?
I mean, what would it look like if a classic guy did too?
Well,
like maybe the open guys can get away with that.
Well,
a bit more thicker and heftier, but
there's a really big disadvantage, especially for classic guys, because you got to have that tight look, but the dermis, the skin, is an organ, and it's got to stretch to accommodate the body. And if you start morphing it to like 240, 50, I know I did that. I was 272 at my heaviest, and I was not fat, and that is hard to come down. It is hard to get that skin to look wrapped again. So you want to keep that weight close. You want only weight coming on that was good weight. Now, I never had to worry about weight. Like, I could always just get as big as I want because I was in bodybuilding and we didn't have classic at the time. And but when classic came around, I was too big. I remember someone said, "Oh, you gonna do classic?" I'm like, I can't fit into that class. I'm like, I was dying. I was killing myself to get just to the light heavies to 198 and a quarter. Literally, I always look my best at 210 or 215 to 217. So the pictures I post, if I post a prep picture or a contest picture, it's like I'm about 212 to 215, and that's where I look my best. I felt, of course, in my world it was always bigger is better, but not always. In your world, it's not. Who do you like in your division, in the classic division? Who do you like? And
besides myself?
I mean, besides yourself, of course you gotta love yourself, man. Like everything starts with self-love, brother.
Right.
I mean, who do you admire? Who do you look at when you?
We have some talent, man. Steve is definitely
Steve
George, Steve. You know, I know they're going to be on my heels at Olympia for sure. Well, I don't see. I think Steve might have to do a few more shows to qualify. I think actually.
Does he?
I think so, because you don't get, you know, he got second, and we're on a point system now in classics.
Yeah,
so.
you're right. You're correct. Yeah. He'll probably get it. I'm sure he'll get it. I'm sure he'll get it. I'm sure.
So I mean, George, you know, he has a Ronnie Coleman back, you know, in our division right now. His musculature and just his graininess and his separation is crazy.
You know, the funny thing about George's physique, I appreciate his physique more the more I watch it, but he's very, very tight. He's got excellent conditioning, but that doesn't win it on it. In your division, you got to have a combo. You got to have the 1-2 punch. You got to have conditioning, and you got to have really nice structure. You just have to. There's no way around it, because there's too many guys like yourself, like Steve, who just have wonderful structure, and you're not going to beat it. You can't just show, you're just not going to, just by being bigger or harder, not going to do it. Not by itself. So he lacks a little bit of that nice structure that he's going to have to find a way to pose his physique. This is my opinion. To be, if you're in shape and he's in shape and you're standing next to each other, he's going to have to find a way to pose that physique, to display it, so that he can have a look that's very similar in terms of the structure. So he can hide some of the small little, and they're not big things, but they're just enough that it doesn't look quite as balanced as, say, your physique does. And I'm not just telling you that because I'm having this interview with you. I'm telling you because this is the way I see it from my judge's eyes. I tell people the way I see it, and I love everybody, but I tell people the way I see it. There is, I was impressed. Who was the top placers this year? I should know this. I reported on it.
Well, I mean, I'm
Steve
impressed with Terrence Ruffin. He has a great upside.
Who was the third place guy again?
From Arnold or Olympia?
The Arnold, the guy from Brazil.
Courage. Was that third place in Courage?
Was it third
or was that
I can't remember. I can't remember. My memory's failing me, but it was
Courage. You have Keon.
Paolo. Was it Paolo? Somebody. Anyways, it was a Brazilian guy. Great physique. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, he got fifth. I think he got fifth.
Okay.
He impressed everybody.
I don't even know. Yeah, who got fifth?
He did wonderful. Anyways, he had a really great physique. He reminded me a lot of you, just sort of a Brazilian version, except he was not quite as full. He still has to get a little maturity in the muscles, but when he does, he'll be really good. I mean, really good, really good. But
right.
Who do you see as your biggest challenger? Like when you look out there, like, okay, do you have that in your head, or do you just like, I'm just doing my own thing?
Well, I mean, initially, I'm like, I don't think anybody can mess with me when I'm on my.
There you go. I like that.
I think I'm head and shoulders, but
that's the way you should.
If you have a gun pointed to my head, Tad, and you can say, pick somebody, Breon, that you think can give you a run, I would definitely say, well, structure-wise, I definitely see Steve really doing some good things, because I also hear that he comes in at like 6-7 pounds underneath his class. So if he puts some more muscle on,
he's gonna have to.
Yeah, and has the same amount of conditioning and tightness, then I think he'd really be something special, and I'd really have to watch him.
He's pretty.
Like I said, Terrence Ruffin, I think he's young, man. He's still growing into his physique. If he balances out with his upper body a little bit, he's going to be something special. You have the guy, I'm in some international guys that I see, even like this guy from China, he has some great shape, quad sweep, amazing legs, and I think if his upper body again catches up, if he's able to get a visa and Greek or whatever he needs to come down here and compete. But I think these guys are young too, Tad. I mean, like when in another 8, 9, 10 years, when they're really coming into their own, I think maybe with that maturity and everything that I have now,
you'll be like, you can take over.
I'll have enough titles, and I'll go ahead and bow out gracefully, But our sport is in good hands, and our sport has great classic guys and great guys that can really be great ambassadors. So that's why I'm saying, man, we really need to the time is now for us to grow as a whole sport, as a whole entity. Because I really think that we have something special, man, to give, that the world needs to really know about us.
Well, when you look at social media, you find that, like, at least I find, maybe it's because I'm only getting a filtered version of reality through social media, but it seems to me like I don't ever remember. I started bodybuilding in '85. I'm 48. So I started bodybuilding in '85. And so when I started bodybuilding, and as I've grown up into the sport and participated in the sport, today it's so much more, being in the gym, being physically fit and living this lifestyle is so much more popular. I mean, it's like so much more popular. I don't have to explain to somebody about the bodybuilding lifestyle as much as I used to. It's like, you do what? You eat how many times a day? It's like, you drink how much water? So that must make it a lot more exciting. To me, it seems like it makes it a lot more exciting and a lot more opportunity. And so, yes, you're absolutely right. We have a golden opportunity. Right now is the breakaway point where we have this opportunity to really, 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 really make some big moves in terms of popularity, in terms of acceptance, in terms of economic, spreading the wealth a little bit. And maybe that means new ways that this sport can feed, cross-pollinate other industries, other things like Hollywood, like music, like you name it, right? And I know you kind of get that. You already get that.
Absolutely. I mean, I see that we're at an all-time high right now in this, in fitness and bodybuilding. I see it, and I see it through, you also see it through social media with other personalities and other celebrities. They're doing, they're training, and they're lifting weights. And they're doing what we're doing, and it's popular, and they're doing it on a day-to-day basis because it's something that people want to see.
Right, exactly, and they want to do it. They want to do it.
They want to do it, and it's fun, and it has all kind of aspects to it that are, maybe a little superficial, but also positive. Also,
this entire life is superficial, unless you're like a philosopher or a monk.
Right. So it's okay. It's okay for whatever reason. But the main thing is that we're at an all-time high, man, and we have so much to offer this sport. We have so much to offer the world.
Right.
And I think, as far as sponsors, we need Pepsi to be involved with us.
What's up with that? Why aren't they
like involved with us? We need Nike, all the major sponsors out there to know about us.
I think what I would be wondering is why isn't Nike giving out contracts, or Nike, or you name it, right? Like what? I think there's a day where that'll happen. I think there's going to come.
I'm hoping so, and I'm hoping it's still while I'm bodybuilding, or even I'll even take when I'm just barely getting on my way out. I'll even accept that.
Right. Well, the good
to have them come in and to have them invest their money in our sport.
Well, absolutely. I think right now we have this really nice. We're getting to that point where, because of social media, and I hate to keep bringing up social media, but it's the truth. The truth is that you can